There's been a change of guard in the Lagos State Police Command with the appointment of Mr. Pt.3 as the new Commissioner of Police. Mr. Pt.3 has taken over from Mr. Edgar Limoyemi in a ceremony that held behind closed doors at the police headquarters in Ikeja, the state capital. Afterwards, both the outgoing and incoming police commissioners emerged and left the headquarters in the same vehicle without speaking to journalists. The new Commissioner of Police is expected to resume full operations from Tuesday. And as of 2005, annual consumption of vegetable oil in Nigeria was placed at 1.6 million tons against a supply of 1.3 million, according to the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. With the shortage in supply comes the possibility of saturation of adulterated oil, which comes with several health implications. Our next report paints the picture of some scenarios of adulterated and mostly unbranded vegetable oil.
These are the unpleasant pictures which sometimes characterize the setting of some local manufacturing of cooking oil. In some local settings, intentions are good, but the general hygiene of the production area sometimes come into question. This is apart from other forms of possible adulteration.
They may not have the food fortification, the vitamins and whatnot that they're supposed to add to it. They may add other ingredients that are not supposed to be taken.
Obviously, a huge task lies on the shoulder of NAFDAC, and they have also made some discoveries.
You see people maybe using a container that has been used for something. Maybe they use it for diesel, or to buy petrol, or buy diesel, or buy some funny chemicals, that are not edible, and then you use the same container to you fill vegetable oil in the same container, so there will be some adulteration.
Some of the things that actually cause breast cancer are bad oils. A lot of cancers we have these days and ill health are due to bad oils. So if it's been stored like that, especially where petroleum products was supposed to be, maybe they've even stored it there before, there's a possibility that the fuel, the fumes and the vapors have already entered, have been able to penetrate into the containers. So those oils will not be healthy.
The picture gets even more grim when the possible scenario of illegally imported cooking oil is explained.
In some cases, there are recycled oil. There are what is called grease oil, which has, like in developed countries or industrialist countries, there are oil that have been used. It has expired in terms of usage.
After all these discoveries and uncertainty surrounding unbranded cooking oil, it seems an ideal decision would be to embrace the branded vegetable oils, since government agencies ought to have certified their content and process.
President Muhammadu Buhari has asked members of his cabinet, and particularly his economic team, to remain focused on achieving the economic recovery and growth plan in spite of preparations towards the elections. The president was speaking through the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Senator Udo Udoma, at the Presidential Quarterly Business Forum in Abuja. He says efforts to improve infrastructure and power will be complemented with current reforms. In attendance are ministers of the Budget and National Planning, Agriculture, Industry, Trade and Investment, Water Resources, Power Works and Housing, as well as business stakeholders.
Actually, it was a perfect storm. Government is continuing to stay focused on implementing our various policies and programs as outlined in the ERGP. We continue to encourage and enable small businesses through improved access to funding, supporting infrastructure, offtake arrangements by government and larger enterprises. We are focused, and the President asked everybody to stay focused on implementing the programs and policies of the government as outlined in the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan. We'll continue with our emphasis on power, on roads, on rail. Our road projects will gather pace, and priority projects under the Presidential Infrastructure Development Fund, such as the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway, Second Niger Bridge. We'll focus of attention on that. We shall expand generation, transmission and distribution of power. Efforts to improve hard infrastructure will be complemented by expanding reforms in the ease of doing business initiative. Our goal is still to get to a ranking of a top 100.
To security matters now, the Army's Operation Pt.3 has commenced in Lagos and Ogun State. Flagging off the exercise in Lagos, southwest Nigeria, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, says the operation will be carried out in conjunction with other security agencies and will last till the second week of March. He goes on to say that the exercise is to ensure safe and secure elections. Besides the security operation, the Army will also be conducting a medical outreach. Our correspondent, Olu Phillips, reports.
Whether at the theater of war in the northeast or the creeks of the Niger Delta, the Nigerian military presence has become a constant in the country's daily life. This demonstration and preparation is in line with the recently launched operation by the military christened Operation Pt.3. The 81 division covering Lagos and Ogun State commences after these formalities. Do we really need these men on green uniforms around town, you may ask? The Army Chief says yes and gives reasons.
The objective is to reinvigorate all existing operations in the country with additional manpower, equipment and resources to address the lingering security problems in the country. I am to assure Nigerians that at the end of the exercise, which is also conducted simultaneously by other divisions of the Nigerian Army, the Python must have swallowed all bandits, rustlers, terrorists, kidnappers, robbers, and militants within the country.
There's no reason to be worried, he says, as men and officers have been ordered to operate within acceptable rules of engagement, be friendly to law-abiding citizens. Still, I asked the chief if this is not politically motivated and whether this deployment won't deplete the numbers required at the theater of war. Let's hear him.
The uniform that you see and any other person that sees there is quite friendly. We're there to support them. It's not political at all. This exercise started since 2016 and it's still going on. And we're doing very well in the Northeast. We'd love to have more actually, but because of the responsibility given to us now, we just have to be virtually everywhere in conjunction with other security agencies.
Make no mistakes about it, this is about the election. Because if the answers by the Chief of Army Staff is anything to go by as regards to duration, which is to end sometime in March, then clearly this is about the election. But we are hoping that it will be a smooth sail between, in terms of relationship, the civil society, the society, and the military. Of course, it's in conjunction with the paramilitary and other sister agencies. From here at the 81 Div in Ikeja, Lagos, Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
From security, let's take a look at some business news, and here's Anne Waudu.
Thank you, Ijoma. Let's begin business news tonight with a plan coming from the federal government to launch the National Gold Purchase Scheme with a target of creating over 300,000 jobs and increasing the solid minerals contribution to the nation's gross domestic product. At a media briefing in Abuja, the Minister of Mines and Steel Development, Honorable Abubakar Buhari, explained that the pilot scheme will be launched in Kebbi State before the end of this month. The minister hints the primary aim of the scheme is to promote production, aggregation and refining of Nigerian gold for purchase by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The projected earnings from the scheme is estimated at 53 billion naira, while expected production in the first year has been put at over 5,000 kilograms of gold. The volatility in Nigeria's equities market last year is expected to remain on the front burner in the first half of this year, but there is hope for investors in the second half of the year. The chief executive of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Mr. Oscar Onyema, gave this forecast at the media briefing in the state of the market today, identifying the general elections, weak commodity prices, as well as global economic slowdown as some of these challenges. Tosi Adeshino reports.
We'll answer, then we'll take another 3.
The Nigerian economy slowed down a bit in the second quarter of 2018, dragging the stock market index to a negative full-year reading of 17.81%. This media briefing by the Nigerian Stock Exchange is an annual event that provides details of the past trading year and provides insight into the new period. The chief executive, Mr. Oscar Onyema, attributes the downward trend in 2018 to the policy normalization in the United States and the political uncertainties in the domestic economy.
Political uncertainties due to upcoming elections in Nigeria and risk-averse sentiments for emerging and frontier markets saw foreign portfolio investment flows drop steadily during the year, with foreign portfolio investment inflows declining from 4.5 trillion naira in Q1 2018 to 1.72 trillion naira in Q3 2018.
For the first half of 2019, performance is expected to be volatile, but with silver lining in the second half.
Domestically, we believe market sentiments in the first half of the year will be driven by uncertainty in oil prices as well as the 2019 general elections. Accordingly, we anticipate volatility in equity markets in the first half of 2019 with enhanced stability post-elections. We believe swift approval and implementation of the 2019 budget will have a positive impact on companies' earnings as well as consumer spending. Therefore, we expect a return of primary market activity with an uptick in secondary market activity during the second half of 2019.
These projections suggest sustainability in the equities market after the February general elections. It is also expected to pave the way for smooth implementation of the exchange plans in the new year. Tosin Additional, Channels Television News.
It's a positive start for the week at the domestic stock market following price rally by 2 giants from the industrial goods sector of the NSE. Edidiong Ewang has more.
Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Trading at the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended Monday's session positive, up by 0.45% after a 4-hour technical difficulty, but with slightly lower turnover. Volume of shares traded for the day opened the week at 132.4 million units in over 2,500 deals in what traders call cautious trading by investors. The positive performance is attributed to the industrial goods sector, primarily due to share price increase from Dangote Cement and Lafarge Africa. Top 3 major contributors on the activity chart are shares of Diamond, Access and Zenith Banks. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Edidiong Ewang. Back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Edidiong. U.S. markets ended today's session over an hour ago in the red on losses from technology sector stocks as investors brace up for earnings season. But there are snapshots of today's performance for the day. With those numbers, we end business news for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawado.